We have so much great content today, I really don't even know where to begin. They are imploding at an epic rate. In today's video, I have even more evidence for this meme. They are consuming themselves, and it's all over the news. It's not even the Electoral College meeting yet. Biden hasn't been inaugurated yet, and they are ready to collapse. I thought it would take till at least spring for this, but it's happening at an epic rate. Now, first, though, much more importantly, if you would like to get a mask that would really, really tweak the left, I think this very simple one would work. Yesterday, of course, we showed the Merry Christmas mask, and we know they are historically against Merry Christmas. Anybody enjoying anything that has to do with Christianity, they are totally against. So, why not just have a simple message that elections have consequences? This is just another way of saying that. You can, of course, find this mask at the Florida Marquee Mask Store while supplies last, or until basically they find out that people like it and then they'll take it down. So I will provide that link down in the description, and get that probably sooner rather than later would be the smart move. Now, some of you may remember months and months ago over on Twitch, started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey because they had an expansion that was the fate of Atlantis, but it had some very Antarctica-like undertones to it. Well, we finally reached that chapter last night, and it is epic. It puts together two ideas about ancient Atlantis and ancient Antarctica that science has been very open about, but they haven't really understood what it means. What are those two ideas? Well, science has said definitively that many, many, many years ago, Antarctica was warm enough for a rainforest. That this is what it looked like. Okay. But when people talk about ancient Antarctica being Atlantis, they always put snow everywhere and ice. This is what it likely looked like. And of course, we have our character Cassandra that is able to move about in this tropical environment in a very interesting state of dress. I thought, well, for this final chapter, why not do something a little bit extra entertaining? The vast majority of my audience over at Twitch is men, very few women there. So I thought, why not? Because just running around in a bikini, I haven't found any scriptures against that. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's a very tropical environment. The character is incredibly overpowered, so the chances of seeing the character die is almost nil. We walked through pretty much everything last night like it wasn't even there. So anyway, I thought I would show a little clip of what the gameplay is like. And this is actually from Twitch. We're just getting the characters' equipment all set. You have these great sailboats that you can flip around in, and there's waterfalls, and there's baths, and of course there's a mission to be done. But if you'd like to join us over at Twitch, once again, I will put that link down in the description. And you can relax, usually around 8:15 to 8:45, somewhere in there I get started. I work out every evening. It depends on what time I get done with that and get cleaned up. But somewhere in that range, and we usually go for a couple, 2.5, maybe 3 hours. So there's plenty of time to get in and see the show, so to speak. Now, speaking of girls in bikinis, there is an interesting dynamic going on with this character, Tommy Lahren. And I don't mean that term character pejoratively. She's been on Fox News, she's on Fox Nation, very conservative, very outspoken. Had been living in California for a long time, but realized the writing on the wall, conservatives aren't welcome in California, so she picked up and she moved. Just like I had suggested people do. If you're living someplace where you're tolerated, go someplace where you're celebrated. But recently, and she moved in May from there to Nashville, Tennessee. Now you'd think that's a good move. Well, in today's video, we're going to show you why that maybe wasn't a great one. Because 3 hours ago, well, it's probably more like 6 or 8 now, slams California politicians' hypocrisy on coronavirus restrictions. Now, this is an old story about LA County and its lockdowns, but Tomi Lahren doesn't live there anymore. Tomi Lahren lives in Nashville. Here she talks about they're coming for Christmas next. The Democrats in California. Once again, and this is a day ago, why would that bother her? She doesn't live there. See, I don't care what liberals do in New York or liberals do in Michigan or liberals do in California. God bless them. I'm a libertarian. They want to ruin their states. That just makes it better for people that live in Florida. We get more conservatives here, and the more conservatives we get here, the more liberals leave and go places like that. In fact, she made a big deal out of this, where she talked about leaving California, but you see, here's the problem. She didn't move to Tennessee. She moved to Nashville. And one of the dirty little secrets about Nashville is that Nashville is full of liberals. It's one of the reasons I'm not in music. I play guitar and sing and write songs, and I went down there and I pissed off the wrong people many, many years ago because of this. And once you're blacklisted, it's over in that town. That's just the way it is. Even though most of the state is solid red conservatives, they get the job done. Moving from California to Nashville is literally getting the worst of both worlds. It's freezing balls in Nashville right now. So she doesn't get the beach. She doesn't get the sunshine. And on top of that, she's still surrounded by liberals. So I think I can understand why she's probably a little upset. But as I referenced earlier, the Obamas are not happy campers. Say what you want about them. Big Mike and Barry know how to look down the road. They understand what politics is really about. And if you don't believe me, believe progressive Democrats firing back at Obama after he criticizes defund the police movement. I think there's some conservatives out there right now putting down whatever frosty cold beverage they have and scratching their heads. Wait a minute, hold on. This doesn't make any sense. Why would they be arguing? You see, he knows. He knows. And I'm going to read you a quote. Now, this is not some endorsement of Barack Obama, but he's echoing something that the Florida Maquis has said on this channel multiple times. Here's a quote from Barry. Quote, "You lost a big audience the minute you say it," meaning defund the police, "which makes it a lot less likely that you're actually going to get the changes you want done." Now here's the key part, pay attention. He said, quote, "The key is deciding, do you want to actually get something done? Or do you want to feel good among the people you already agree with?" Basically paraphrasing my statement, do you want to win? Or do you want to feel good about winning? Do you want to win, or do you want to feel good about winning? I've said this a million times. See, like I said, say what you want about them. They aren't unintelligent people. His comments drew a sharp rebuke from several liberal progressive Democrats who are operating out of emotions only. Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, all came after Barry because he said this. Rashida Tlaib as well. Now imagine if I had told you that electing Joe Biden would cause this wing of the party to implode. You would have told me I was crazy. You would have told me I was nuts. I'm telling you right now that this is going to be their end. It's going to be their end. Now, On the disease front, there's an interesting article about this as well, how things are ticking up in the north. You see, they're ticking up as far as reported cases everywhere. But the serious version of COVID, the hospitalizations, are only ticking up in the north. Highest since April. Now, this is Johns Hopkins. I brought up a stat that not a lot of people look at. See, a lot of people look at the cumulative cases. This means anybody who's ever had it ever, regardless of whether they've recovered or not. You see, there are recovery numbers, but especially in Florida, they don't get reported. What this is the case fatality rate. Now in Louisiana, it's 2.69%. But let's go to Florida, the place they love to demonize. I don't know if you can see this, 1.85%. I'll give you the link to this too. It's coronavirus.jhu.edu. It's an easy map to find. It's all over the place. Tiny, tiny, itty-bitty speck of a case fatality ratio. Now, yeah, we have as many cases. We have over 1 million people that have ever had it, whether they currently have it or not. But like, for example, in Texas, you see, they show up here a recovered number, 1.25 million cases, 22,000 deaths, but 976,517 people recovered. Here's an article out of Click Orlando. Every day, the Florida Department of Health releases numbers showing how many people have been diagnosed with COVID-19, along with a breakdown including the death toll and hospitalizations. The data, however, does not include how many people who tested positive in the past month and have since recovered and returned to their normal lives. Quote, "We do not currently measure recovery." Wait until you hear this. "And don't expect to have such a designation any time in the near future. Recovery can mean a lot of things. Some countries say you recovered 14 days from infection, even if you're still sick or even dead, based on a computer algorithm that calculates the amount of time passed since a case is first reported. The very definition of recovery is a contested issue. Are you recovered once you're no longer symptomatic or contagious, once you get a negative test result, or no longer require hospitalization?" And here's the key. Are you ever recovered if you suffer long-term effects from having had the virus? Until some of these issues and definitions are worked out at the local, state, and national level, we will not be providing a metric for recovery. Really? So much for informing the populace. But you see, they can't hide numbers like this. They can't. They're just going to continually talk about who has ever gotten it ever. Because it's starting to show something in the data that people aren't going to like to talk about. And if I would talk about it here, I would more than likely get my channel demonetized, if not deleted completely. Now, talking about the Tomi Lahren thing again. Matt and Kelly Stafford in Detroit. Same thing. Same thing. We'll get to this in a minute. Children of the South. He's from Texas. She's from Georgia. He lived the dream. Became an NFL quarterback. Making tens of millions of dollars. Do they look happy? Do they look happy? Of course not. Everybody knows the story about Kelly Stafford saying she's tired of living under a dictatorship in Michigan. They're ready to leave. They're ready to leave, regardless of the money. This is why Tomi Lahren's upset. It's absolutely why she's upset. Because she thought she was moving someplace conservative, and Tennessee generally is. But she moved to Nashville. I mean, talk about horrible. You see, money can't buy certain things. Money can't buy certain things. And the left is starting to see it in their own people. In their own people, they're starting to see it. You see, they can't just make up the rules as they go and have even their own base fall in line behind them. I thought this was kind of a funny cartoon. I'm sorry, Jeanette, while your answer was correct, Walter was offended by it, so he gets the point. Here on Facts Don't Matter. They are imploding. They are imploding at an epic rate because reality has set in. I'm not making the allegation Tomi Lahren was ever a liberal. She wasn't. She lived in California. She was a conservative, found out she wasn't really welcome there, and went someplace she thought she would be celebrated. And she went to the one place in the whole state of Tennessee, one of two places possibly, where she wouldn't be. I would like to send a personal invite out to Miss Lahren. You belong in Florida. That's where you need to go. Florida. Tennessee's nice, I'm sure. It's got pretty mountains and a lot of good people, but you belong in Florida, like the rest of actual conservatives. So, anyway, join us on Twitch. Would love to have you. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot to do. This is the final chapter. This is the Atlantis Antarctica connection. And if you want a mask that's really going to tweak the liberals, we got one at the Florida Monkey Mask Store. Links to Twitch, links to the mask will be down in the description. Thank you, everyone, very much for the support. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you.